Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB and today's the 12th of October 2022. Now listen guys, 12th of October, I have 5 massive news from the cryptocurrency world. Now this is ridiculously strange because usually when I tend to prepare work for my podcast, I do have to search for quite a lot of information, but I really am not sure what is going on in the cryptocurrency world. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about 5 massive news from the cryptocurrency world. The first one is regarding Solana's DeFi platform called Mango Markets, and they have had a drain of $100 million. So we'll very briefly talk about that. The second news is from CNN, and they have decided to shut down its marketplace. The third one is regarding both Ape Yacht Club, and looks like the U.S. Securities Exchange and Commission is going after them. But at this point of time, I really am not sure if this is legitimate news or if it's just rumor. And the fourth news that we're going to be talking about is the U.S. Department of Treasury, and they have charged Bittrex with sanction violations. And the fifth and the massive news is regarding Google, and they have partnered with Coinbase to accept cryptocurrencies. So it looks like Google and Coinbase are making a massive news for Web3 adoption. So today, 12th of October, there's quite a lot of news to cover. And we'll also be talking about DeFi platform, which is ridiculously low to less than $3 billion. And I'm talking about the 24-hour trading volume. And regarding UAE, I have 2 news as well. And both the news are regarding Blockchain DXB's event. And the first event is Metaverse event. So the session is called as the Hype, Reality and New World Order. And I'm going to be doing that session on the 11th of November. And another session which takes place on the 11th of November is PESTLER analysis on Bitcoin. Now, what does PESTLER analysis stands for? The P stands for political, E stands for economical, S stands for social, T stands for technological, L stands for legal, E stands for environmental, and R stands for religious. So what I do is every month, I do PESTLER analysis on Bitcoin, and next month onwards, I'm going to be doing PESTLER analysis on central bank digital currencies. I'll do it on stable coins, and I'm also going to be doing it on Metaverse and quite a lot more. So today's episode is going to have loads of useful information. So welcome everyone, it's 18 you're in Dubai and you're listening to Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. And how the series of episodes in the Crypto and Coffee at 8 works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well. News that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other 2 news and information is related to Dubai, UAE and Middle East and the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. And this is followed by Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions from the cryptocurrency world. And on Fridays, guys, I have an episode called Metaverse Everything, where we solely focus on Metaverse. So please check out those episodes as well. The format for Metaverse Everything podcast is completely different. And what I tend to do is I tend to publish a daily and a weekly report via my LinkedIn profile. So please follow me on LinkedIn as well. My LinkedIn profile is in the show notes below. But before we kickstart today's episode, I have an important message, so check this out. Firstly, guys, Startup OI is global one-tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events, and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in Metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI. If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called Rise in the Obstacle Course Race, and Rise in the Obstacle Course Race podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gov Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs And these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing, go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform and search for Rise in the Obstacle Course Race podcast. Next, Vertex Events have organized the first ever blockchain summit in the history of the World Expo on 10th to 11th of October 2021 at Dubai Expo 2022. Now they are planning to organize a 2 days blockchain summit in 2022 on the 14th and 15th of October at Grand Hyatt Dubai UAE. And Blockchain Dubai Summit is one of the most innovative and interactive summits in the Middle East. Industry leaders from the world of blockchain, digital assets will gather to discuss advantages of blockchain, crypto, DeFi, NFT and Metaverse, a brilliant event to network with leading personalities in the space. There are a couple of packages and opportunities for sponsorship, so click on the link below to know everything about Vertex Events, and the website is vertexgroups.ae, or also drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. And finally guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet, and this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in. And Ledger Wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France. And Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers two hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below. Now, since we've taken care of that, let's look at the price of the global crypto market. Now listen guys, 12th of October, the global cryptocurrency market is moving sideways, and the global crypto market is down to $922.14 billion. Now this is a bit surprising considering the fact that we have 5 massive news, and these news has not made any impact on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now the global crypto market is up by 0.47% since the last 24 hours, and the total crypto market volume over the last 24 hours is only at $48.46 billion. Now these numbers are really rookie numbers. Now on an average day, the total crypto market volume used to hover well over the $120 or $130 billion mark. So 2022 is definitely not the best year for cryptocurrencies. The global crypto market since the last 24 hours is down by 12.48%. Now let's look at the volume of DeFi. The total volume of DeFi is down to $2.99 billion, and the total value locked is $54.06 billion. Now really I'm not sure guys why this number is so consistent. I'm just hoping that we do not find out some notorious activity in DeFi. Now a few months ago we did identify that Solana was double or triple updating its information, and that's one of the reasons why the volume of Solana was ridiculously high. I'm just hoping that we do not find out another notorious activity so far as the total value locked in DeFi is concerned, because the fact that the total value locked is consistent for almost 2 months now, it does not seem right. Now out of the $54.06 billion, MakerDAO accounts for 14.03% with $7.59 billion locked, and DeFi accounts for 6.17% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. Now let's look at the volume of stablecoins. Stablecoin accounts for 94.47% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. And guys, looks like stablecoins is turning out to be a safe haven for cryptocurrencies. This is definitely not ideal. The volume of stablecoins now is at $45.78 billion, and this is the volume for the last 24 hours. And out of that $45.78 billion, Tether USDT accounts for $35.33 billion, whereas Circle's USDC accounts for $3.38 billion, and Binance USD, which has been gaining a lot of momentum since the last 1 month or so, is at $5.90 billion. So stablecoins looks like it is turning out to be a safe haven for cryptocurrencies and the financial economy as well. Now let's quickly compare the market share, 24-hour trading volume and dominance between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin's dominance is at $366 billion, and ever since the Ethereum merge, Ethereum's market share is well down to 50% of that of Bitcoin's market share, and it is currently at $158 billion. Now the 24-hour trading volume of Bitcoin is $27 billion, and Ethereum's 24-hour trading volume is $8 billion. Now let's look at the dominance between Bitcoin and Ethereum, and surprisingly, for the past 2 months now, Bitcoin and Ethereum's dominance has been relatively stable. Bitcoin's dominance is at 39.75%, whereas Ethereum's dominance is at 17.20%. Now let's quickly look at the top 5 smart contracting platform, and I'm going to be sharing just the market share. Ethereum is at $158 billion, whereas Binance BNB is at $49.90 billion, Cardano is at $13.48 billion, Solana is at $11.18 billion, and Polkadot is at $7.20 billion. So it's going to be really interesting to see, once we are off from the bear market, what the market share of these smart contracting platforms would be. I really am hoping that Bitcoin and Ethereum do stay on top, and maybe Cardano will switch Binance BNB. But let's try to see how it turns out to be. Now guys, the massive news that is going on in the cryptocurrency world is about Solana's trade. So the centralized blockchain Solana's DeFi exchange called Mango Markets has been hit with a reported exploit of over $100 million through an attacker manipulating price oracle data. Now what that did is it allowed them to take under collateralized cryptocurrency loan, and this exploit was identified by a firm that audits the importance of blockchain, and the firm is called as Oct U.S, and they mentioned via Twitter that Mango Markets were drained for over $100 million. Now if you do want to find out more information about it, go to the Twitter account of Oct U.S and try to follow the tweets and the threads. It does provide quite a lot of useful information. Now that was the first news. The second news is to do with politics, I think. It's the whole go woke, go broke mentality. Now the extreme left-wing media, that is CNN, has decided to shut down its NFT marketplace and issue a 20% refund. Now CNN had a project called as Vault by CNN. Now I must admit that this was initially advertised as only a 6-week experiment and a first foray into Web3. They did mention via the Twitter account that they are deciding to shut down the marketplace. Now what this NFT platform was, it had moments that changed us, and the collection included a series of tokenizing iconic news moments from CNN's 41-year history, along with a wall to purchase, store and display the NFTs. Now looks like people are definitely not interested in it, and this goes back to the whole notion, go woke, go broke. So CNN's NFT platform was definitely a failure, and they have definitely decided to shut it down and issue a 20% refund. So at an NFT level, this is definitely not positive news. The third news that I'd like to discuss is regarding the Bored Ape Yacht Club creator Yuga Labs. Now I'm not sure at this point of time if this is a legitimate news or if this is just rumor, and I'll tell you the reason why. Bloomberg has provided an article that states that Bored Ape Yacht Club's creator Yuga Lab faces U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission probe over unregistered offerings, and that Wall Street regulator is examining whether NFTs are securities. Now if you read through the article, it does not give any legitimate sources. It just says that based on insider information, that's what they feel. In that article, they did ask the U.S. Securities Exchange and Commission to comment about it, and even they have declined to make any comments. So I really am not sure if this is legitimate news or if this is just rumor. And Cointelegraph has also reported this article. And when Cointelegraph did ask the SEC for some kind of comments, so they have declined to make any comments. So again guys, when you're looking at information, it's so critical that you do look at information from the first source. Now if the SEC were after Yuga Labs, they would be having an official report and official filing, which would be open for absolutely everyone to see. Unfortunately, I do not see that. So at this point of time, I really am not sure if this is legitimate news or if it is just rumor. Now, the fourth news that happened yesterday, and this is to do with the U.S. Department of Treasury, and they have heavily fined Bittrex. So what happened on October 11th? The U.S. Department's Financial Crime Enforcement Network, often called as FinCEN, and the Office of Foreign Asset Control, called as OFAC, announced that it has settled charges with cryptocurrency exchange Bittrex. So the U.S. Department of Treasury announced two enforcement actions for over $24 million and $29 million against the virtual exchange Bittrex. So if you go to the official document from the Department of Treasury, you can actually read through what the actual complaint is. Now, if you read through the official link via the Department of Treasury, it actually states that the acting director, Rumour has said, for years, Bittrex AML program and SAR reporting failures unnecessarily expose the US financial system to threat actors, and that's one of the reasons why Bittrex has also agreed to it, and looks like they're definitely going to pay the fine as well. The fifth news, guys, is an absolute massive one, and this is to do with a partnership between Google and Coinbase. And Bitcoin.com has reported that Google Cloud has partnered with Coinbase to accept crypto payments. This, guys, is an absolutely massive news. So Google's BigQuery crypto public data sets will be powered by Coinbase's cloud nodes across leading blockchains, accessible to Web3 developers. So go through the official article via Bitcoin.com. Now, I do think that this should definitely boost the Web3 adoption in the cryptocurrency space. So definitely a win-win situation for Google, win-win situation for Coinbase, and win-win situation for the cryptocurrency community as well. And Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong has said, "We are excited Google Cloud has selected Coinbase to help bring Web3 to a new set of users and provide powerful solutions to developers." So absolutely massive partnership between Google Cloud and Coinbase. And Google Cloud CEO Thomas Kurian has said, "We want to make building in Web3 faster and easier, and this partnership with Coinbase helps developers get one step closer to that goal." And the announcement also further said that Google will use Coinbase Prime for institutional crypto services like secure custody and reporting. Now this is definitely massive news. Now ideally, news such as this should have pumped the price of cryptocurrencies, but that has not happened yet. Now let's try to see what impact this news has on the price of cryptocurrencies, most likely tomorrow. But tomorrow, that is the 13th of October, the inflation numbers are going to be out. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the global cryptocurrency market reacts to the inflation numbers. Now guys, let's talk about two news regarding UAE. But before we move on to two crypto and blockchain news regarding UAE, I have two news regarding obstacle course race in UAE. The first news is about Spartan race, and they have a massive event in December, the World Championship. And this is the second time they have the World Championship event in Abu Dhabi. And guys, I have a standalone episode with Spartan Race founder Joe Cena talking about Spartan Race NFT. And Sean, who's the Chief Technology Officer, was also in the podcast. And Calvin, who's one of the OGs in the NFT space, was at the podcast as well. So we discussed from a business point of view, why did Spartan Race decide to go ahead and launch its NFT? What were the challenges, and quite a lot more. So please check out those episodes. It is a standalone episode talking more about NFTs and not so much regarding obstacle course race. And the second message is also about obstacle course race and my favorite one, that is Tough Mudder. And listen guys, I'm on a mission to do my 100th Tough Mudder, so check both the messages now. The first message is from Spartan. Now Spartan is a global fitness brand with 10 million strong community. They create transformational events, experiences, products and content to help people, companies and team tear down boundaries and expand what they believe to be possible. From day one, nearly 2 decades ago, they've been champions of human transformation, and they live to help people get outside, eat healthy, and develop habits that lead to a life of constant progress. With families of brands, they push people from every corner of the globe outside the comfort zone and immerse them in a world of tough fitness and elite sports. Now they do this because you can face and overcome adversity head on, and your potential is limitless. Now this year in December, in Abu Dhabi, the land of Gazelle, thousands of athletes and spectators will gather at the metropolis in the desert to compete for Spartan immortality. This is a unique opportunity to watch the world's best obstacle course race athletes compete for World Championship, and have your group conquer the course themselves. The massive event takes place from the 2nd till the 4th of December this year. Now for Spartan World Championship, the ticket details and registration to the programs are mentioned in the links below. Now if you are into running, if you are into adventure, and if you are in UAE, you definitely need to check this out. And the second news, guys, is about Tough Mudder. Now listen, guys, there are 3 things that I'm extremely passionate about. All 3 of them have some kind of similarity. That is heavy metal, Bitcoin, and obstacle course race. Now we've looked at the premier obstacle course race event, that is Spartan race, which is taking place between the 2nd and 4th of December. But the next one that I'd like to discuss is Tough Mudder. Now Tough Mudder is unique, and I did my very first obstacle course race, that was Tough Mudder. And Tough Mudder obstacles are more fun, more adventurous, and it involves a lot of teamwork. Now the team is putting up an exclusive event in partnership with Abu Dhabi Sports Council, and this event takes place at a unique location at the border of Dubai and Abu Dhabi called as Guntoot. The event takes place on the 23rd of this month, which is less than 2 weeks from now. It's going to be great. It's only 5 kilometers of running with 13 obstacles, and some of the obstacles are really unique and fun. So go to YouTube and just type in Block Ness Monster, or type in electroshock therapy or pyramid 2.0. You would understand what I'm talking about. So listen, guys, do one thing. Click on the link below, sign up for your very first Tough Mudder event, and you can also use my promo code, which is George25, for a 25% discount. Now if you are into running, if you are into adventure, if you are into obstacle course race, you definitely need to sign up for this event. So go to the website toughmudderarabia.com, and you can also follow them on Instagram. The Instagram handle is toughmudderarabia. Now guys, since you've taken care of 2 news regarding obstacle course race, let me try to discuss 2 news regarding UAE, and both the news are from Blockchain DXB, and both of them have to do with an event that is taking place on the 11th of November. Now the first event that is taking place on the 11th of November is a Metaverse event called as Metaverse, the Hype Reality and New World Order. So let me quickly explain what the event is. Now this session takes place on the 11th of November from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Gulf Standard Time, and this session is completely free of cost. And guys, you can register it via eventbrite.com and just search for Blockchain DXB, or just drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. Now the reason why I'm doing these events is only to educate the people on Metaverse. So we'll be exploring the hype of Metaverse, and I want to give you guys an understanding of what the Metaverse is and its impact, and how institutions and companies are onboarding in the Metaverse journey. And we'll be exploring the reality versus expectation of Metaverse, what are the hardware and software challenges and limitations, and we'll be looking at the real life use cases as well. And with the new world order kicking in, will the US have a competitive advantage, or will other countries have a competitive advantage? So we'll be exploring that in that session. Now the session is essentially broken down into 2 parts, Part A and Part B. And in Part A, we'll be discussing the history of Metaverse. What is Metaverse? The whole hype of Metaverse, and how Facebook changing its name to Meta did change the entire industry, or did it actually create an entire industry? We'll also be talking about the hardware and the software in Metaverse. And in Part B, I'll be talking about areas where Metaverse merges with the physical world, and we'll be discussing the news and events surrounding Metaverse in Dubai. And one of my favorite topics is blockchain in the Metaverse. Now, do we really require blockchain in the Metaverse? And I'll be trying to explore how blockchain platform merges with Metaverse. And one news which is circulating in the Metaverse industry and in the cryptocurrency industry is with reference to the daily active users in Decentraland and in Sandbox. And I do believe one of the listeners did ask me a question yesterday on what I thought about the number of daily active users on Decentraland and Sandbox. So we'll be exploring that in the session as well. I'll be discussing the top Metaverse platforms, the limitations of blockchain and NFT in the Metaverse, and we'll also be discussing artificially intelligence-enabled non-fungible tokens and quite a lot more. And these sessions are completely free of cost. Now listen guys, if you do want to get a detailed breakdown of what I'll be talking in this session, go to eventbrite.com or go to my website blockchaindxb.com and look for the tab Metaverse. And I believe there are 2 PDFs, so you're more than welcome to download both the PDF it does give detailed information of what I'll be talking in that session. Now, the next news that I'd like to talk about is another event which takes place on the 11th of November, and that event starts at 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Gulf Standard Time. And that event is PESTLER analysis on Bitcoin, that is political, economical, social, technological, legal, environmental, and religious analysis on Bitcoin. And these sessions are also completely free of cost. You can register them via Eventbrite, or guys, you can also drop me an email to info@blockchaindxp.com. Now, what is PESTLER analysis? It is essentially a tool used to gain a macro picture of an industry environment. It does give a company or an industry to form an impression of the factors that might impact a new business or a new industry. So we break down elements of Bitcoin at a macro level to better understand its impact and vice versa. So we'll be discussing each area in detail to get a better understanding of Bitcoin. So when we talk about political, I'll be very briefly explaining, is Bitcoin apolitical? Now listen guys, Bitcoin started as a movement towards separation of money and the state. But where does politics fit in so far as Bitcoin is concerned? So we will explore what side of politicians are in favor of Bitcoin. Are the left-wing politicians in favor of Bitcoin open source for freedom? Or are right-wing politicians in favor of Bitcoin freedom of speech and open source technology? As a matter of fact, in yesterday's episode, I did talk about a right-wing politician from South Carolina who did go to El Salvador to understand the impact of making Bitcoin a legal tender, and he had very positive things to say regarding Bitcoin, open source, and digital assets in general. Now, regarding economical factors, we'll be discussing, is Bitcoin the biggest global wealth redistribution? Now, guys, listen, there's this notion that Generation Z are the ones who are into Bitcoin, but we'll go ahead and explore if boomers are the ones who are into Bitcoin and quite a lot more. And can Bitcoin change the dynamics of money? We'll discuss inflation, we'll discuss exchange rates, and quite a lot more. Regarding social factors, we will look at the social impact of Bitcoin and blockchain technologies for generations to come. Now, Bitcoin's usage in first world will be discussed in comparison to Bitcoin's usage in underdeveloped countries. And we'll also go in detail and try to look at the impact Bitcoin has made so far as social factors are concerned. Regarding technological factors, we will look at the user experience of Bitcoin. I'll explore the different forks of Bitcoin, and we'll also discuss some of the technical changes or updates that have happened on Bitcoin, that is Taproot and Snore Signature. It does give Bitcoin certain programmable functionalities, something similar to Ethereum. We'll also discuss the economies of scale for setting up mining operations. Now, regarding legal factors, we will pose this very simple question: is Bitcoin legal? And where does governance, regulations, and legislation fit in? Now listen guys, I'm currently in talks with few lawyers from UAE. And what I want to do is I want to have a series of episodes trying to merge law with Bitcoin and law with cryptocurrencies. So hopefully I want to have at least 4 to 6 episodes discussing where law fits into Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and blockchain. And we'll also be exploring what can governments do to support innovation and Bitcoin from a legal perspective. Now, regarding environmental factors, we'll be exploring the whole ESG concern on Bitcoin mining, and we'll look at the past, current, and future state of environmental impact of Bitcoin. And regarding the final point, that is religious factors, we will look at if Bitcoin is Sharia compliant and what are the religious factors and commonality in Bitcoin. And we'll also look at how is Bitcoin seen in the Middle East and quite a lot more. So it's a completely free event, and I plan to do a PESTLER analysis on Metaverse, on central bank digital currencies, and stablecoin as well, because I do feel doing a PESTLER analysis does give a macro level screenshot of the industry. So that's all for today guys on the Crypto and Coffee at 8 from Blockchain DXP. In case if you have any feedback or suggestions, please drop me an email to info@blockchaindxp.com. Check out my website www.blockchaindxp.com, and check out my other website, that is area2071.com, that talks everything about Metaverse. And if you like listening to this podcast, please follow this button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Now for the next few minutes is going to be an Ask Me Anything series where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So let's kickstart with the Ask Me Anything series. Hey everyone, it's Josh from Blockchain DXB. You're listening to the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And how the series of episodes on the Crypto and Coffee at 8 works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the powers of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other two news and information is related to Dubai, UAE, and Middle East from the cryptocurrency world. And guys, what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. I have a question by Altaf who asks, did you visit the GITEX event, and what are your key takeaways? Altaf, this is a brilliant question, and I have to be really cautious in what I'm saying here. I did attend the GITEX event on both the days. That is on the 10th and the 11th of October, and I'll be attending that session today as well. Now, I must admit that GITEX Global is, if not one of the biggest technological events probably in the entire world. It is much bigger than I really anticipated. So my experience has been, and I'm completely shocked at the number of people at that event. There were so many YouTube influencers. Super Saf, who's one of the massive influencers, was at the event. I did see the Coin Bureau team as well, and there were altcoin dailies and quite a lot more. Now, that being said, Altaf, I must say, I only attended the X-Verse section. So there is a session dedicated only to Metaverse, and I also attended the Blockchain Summit session as well. Now, to be completely honest, Altaf, I am extremely disappointed in what I'm seeing now. The whole X-Verse session that they have pretty much has nothing to do with Metaverse. It is still going back to Web 2. The only exception what I can think of is Microsoft's HoloLens 2.0. That is the only thing I can think of that does give users an experience of what the Metaverse will be. Other than that, to be honest, I did not like absolutely anything at all. Some of the information that the speakers were giving, I have to say it was also incorrect. Now, one of the speakers, I'm not going to name, did actually just copy-paste information from McKinsey's report. This is something which everyone knows, but the explanation that the person was giving was also kind of incorrect. Now, so far as X-Verse is concerned, I have to say it, the experience was absolutely disappointing. On the scale of 1 to 5, Altaf, I might probably give it maybe a 1 or 1.5. It was that bad. If you're not in the Metaverse industry, if you're not looking at the technical details of Metaverse, then you might find the X-Verse event absolutely fantastic. But looking at things from a technical point of view, from a business point of view, I have to say it was extremely disappointing. I did go to the Future Blockchain Summit as well, and to be honest, the list of speakers were absolutely horrendous. How I believe it works is, I think if people pay to be as a speaker, they just get accepted as a speaker. Of all the list of speakers, I can only think of 2 speakers who had relatively the right things to say regarding blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Other than that, a lot of incorrect information. And one thing which was really sad to see is there was not a single event talking about Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin is Web 3.0. Bitcoin accounts for well over 40% of the global crypto market. And if you were to remove the shitcoins out of, Bitcoin might just be 70 to 80%. That they should have had a couple of events talking only about Bitcoin and its impact. Now, they did have another session on VARA, which is Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority. Unfortunately, that was only an invite-only session. Now, that might have been the most valuable event at the Future Blockchain Summit. And again, this has nothing to do with organizers. This is more to do with the speakers. I think the speakers are mostly filled with venture capital funds. They're mostly cryptocurrency exchanges, and they are just trying to promote their product as opposed to promoting the benefits of blockchain and cryptocurrencies. So I've only attended the X-Verse section. I've only attended the Future Blockchain Summit. And apart from that, the event is absolutely brilliant. So if you are into technology, this just might be the holy grail of all technologies. Overall, in the scale of 1 to 10, I would definitely give it a 10 plus. The way how Dubai arranges these events is absolutely like no other. And I do think that this just might be the biggest technology-related event in the world. So from an organization point of view, Altaf, I would definitely give it a 10 out of 10. Now, if you're going to that session, what I would recommend you to do is go to Zabil Hall number 1. That is extremely catchy, and you can print your own NFTs and quite a lot more. And another thing, I hate to say this, but they do have a board where you can print your own NFT. But when you're writing in your details, the person standing behind you can read through what you're typing, so you have to mention your name, your email address, and the screen is absolutely massive. It isn't something that only you can see. So when you're typing in your name and your email address, a person who's standing maybe 5 feet or 10 feet away can also read through your name and email. Now, if you're dealing with NFTs, I would definitely not want that to be displayed to absolutely anyone. But other than that, the event was an absolutely massive success. I have another question by Salman, who asks, when you talk about politicians getting into cryptocurrencies, can you elaborate that quite more? Now, Salman, definitely yes. Now, at a macro level speaking, the left-wing politicians are not in favor of Bitcoin, freedom of speech, and cryptocurrencies. That's not to say that all left-wing politicians are opposing cryptocurrencies, but at a macro level, the left-wing politicians all over the world are not in favor of Bitcoin. They're not in favor of freedom of speech, as you can see lately, and they're not in favor of open source technology. And these left-wing politicians are in favor of central bank digital currencies. I would like to go in detail, but it might take me hours and hours to talk about it. But the right-wing politicians are in favor of Bitcoin. They're in favor in open source technology. They do have a mentality of a capitalist economy. So they do believe that individual has the right to do whatever they want. So at a macro level, that is what my say is. Now, in yesterday's podcast, I did talk about both the things, that is left-wing media. What they tend to do is they tend to manipulate information and put across a narrative that fits with their political agenda, whereas the right-wing media, they constantly oppose it. I'm not saying that the right-wing media is perfect, but so far as Bitcoin cryptocurrency is concerned, that is what they say is. In UK, the Labour Party is considered as a left wing, and the Labour Party is not in favour of Bitcoin cryptocurrency and adoption, whereas the Conservative Party or right-wing party, they are definitely in favour of Bitcoin cryptocurrencies, open source and innovation. Now, what I would recommend you to do is, Salman, the session that I have on the 11th of November, please feel free to attend that session. I'll go in detail. I probably might talk about this for maybe 15 to 20 minutes, exploring in detail what side of politicians are in favor of Bitcoin, open source, cryptocurrencies, and even Metaverse and central bank digital currencies, and quite a lot more. So that's all for today, guys, on the Ask Me Anything series in Blockchain DXB. In case if you guys have any feedback or suggestions, please drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com and check out my website www.blockchaindxb.com and check out my other website area2071.com that talks everything about Metaverse. And remember, guys, Monday to Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. we have Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And how the series of episodes in the Crypto and Coffee at 8 works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other news and information is related to Dubai, UAE, and Middle East in the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions from the cryptocurrency world. Thanks so much for listening, guys, and in case if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Thanks so much and have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.